Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the College of Education preview event. This session is for the School of Teacher Education. It is home to all these wonderful people here with me today, but it's our teacher preparation programs. My name is Josh Duke. I am the Assistant Director of Communications and Recruitment here at the College of Education. I just wanted to briefly talk about FSU as a whole. I'm sure if you are here, you've probably already done a little bit of research, but as I'm sure you've probably seen, FSU has been rising nationally in the rankings. We're currently sitting at number 19 among all public universities, which is a great ranking. We have a number of programs as well that are currently individually ranked here, including our special education program, I believe is at number 17. And our curriculum and instruction program overall generally is ranked number 30 by US News and World Report. We are the oldest college of education in the state of Florida. And we also happen to be the college of education that gives out more scholarships than any other public institution in the state of Florida. So we like to brag about that. We like supporting our students. It's a great place to be. Wonderful faculty who you'll get to hear from a little bit tonight. But I just wanted to briefly say that if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat while we present. And then after Dr. Jones does his presentation, we'll be opening up breakout rooms. So if you want to talk to individual faculty members about their programs specifically, if you have any specific programs, feel free to jump in there and ask away. But I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Dr. Ethel Jones, who will be doing our presentation this evening. Oh, I think you're muted, Dr. Jones.
My mouse was not cooperating. You should be able to see my screen with the PowerPoint. And as Josh said, I'm Ethel Jones. I'm the Associate Director of the School of Teacher Education here at Florida State University. And what I'd like you to do as you enter the room, if you could drop your name into the chat box, and also if you know what program you're interested in, just make a note of that as well. And some of you may be interested in several programs, and that's okay. And I'll be reviewing some of the programs as we get through this initial presentation. And I also like to thank the faculty who are attending. We have representatives from each of the programs, and you'll be able to meet with those later this evening in breakout rooms. So in this brief introduction, I'm going to talk a little bit about the School of Teacher Education, talk a bit about what you need to apply for our graduate programs, as well as remind you of important deadlines, funding opportunities, and other important information about your application. And we should be able to. I'm not sure if my screen is advancing. Here we go. So we have several majors in the School of Teacher Education, and they all fall under the umbrella of the curriculum and instruction degree. And these are degrees at the master's level, at the specialist level, and at the PhD level. And we have several majors within that umbrella degree, and that includes also face-to-face programs as well as an online degree. And these include the ASD, autism spectrum disorder, at the master's level, early childhood education at the master's, and a specialist and the PhD, and the same for elementary education, English education, foreign second language, reading education and language arts, mathematics, science education, social science education, and visual disabilities. And I should add that although we are housed in the School of Teacher Education, These are not teaching certification programs. These are graduate degrees, although we do have some students that might get a master's degree and pursue certification independently through the Florida State Education Department. But these are not initial certification programs. They're standalone graduate degrees in each of these major areas at the master's and specialist. Some of the programs have online master's program as well as a face-to-face master's program, and others are just at the online at the moment. That for example, early childhood, we have an online master's and then a face-to-face PhD program. So just one other important name I wanted to share with you, and that is Veronica Hawk. She's not able to be with us this evening. She is our academic program specialist in the School of Teacher Education, and she's an important person to be in contact with once you begin your application process. And so once you've started the process, she'll be in touch with you to remind you if there are pieces of the application that still need submitting, or if you have questions about the application process. She's a good person to get in touch with, or you can reach out to myself or some of the other faculty. But in terms of the administrative side of the application, making sure that it's being processed in a timely manner so that you hear back from us. She's the contact person in the department. And then, as I said, in the breakout rooms, you'll be meeting the representatives from each of the programs. So the graduate degrees, as I mentioned, they're in this umbrella degree of curriculum and instruction. And then we also have certificates available in autism spectrum disorder, and then the TESOL, the teaching of English to speakers of other languages. We have, at the last count, 32 faculty members across the 11 different majors and across multiple degree programs. So in addition to the graduate level programs that I'm talking about this evening, we do have initial certification programs, the BSMS programs, those are the combined bachelor's and master's programs that lead to certification in different majors, including elementary education, special education, and so on. And so, as Josh mentioned, we've been ranked quite high in the US News and World Reports, and my understanding is that we're around number 4 or number 6 in terms of the online master's CNI program. So for the application process, once you've started the process and you've entered your information into the FSU portal, there are a few things that we need before we can process the application. First of all is your transcript. Your official transcript will be required. All transcripts from previous institutions. Now we can review your application with an unofficial transcript. However, we can only admit you once you've submitted your official transcript, and I think the university will send you a reminder prior to the beginning of the semester to remind you that those documents are needed. But we can actually review and offer a place so long as we have the unofficial transcripts. And for the GRE requirements, the good news is that if you're coming in for a master's degree or the specialist program, the GRE requirement is waived. So you don't have to submit those scores with your application. However, for the PhD applications, you will need to submit a recent GRE score, and we're looking for scores within a range. The target that we're looking at is 151 for the verbal and 145 for the quantitative, and then a 3+ on the writing. As for the language proficiency test for international students, We're looking for a minimum of 80 on the TOEFL, and then on the other test, on the IELTS, a minimum of 6.5, and then the MELAB, a minimum of 77. Also with your application, we like to have a statement of purpose that really describes your purpose, maybe providing a little bit of context to help us in reviewing your application. So your purpose for pursuing the degree, your qualifications, or perhaps your long-term career goals. And we're looking for a minimum of 1 page to accompany your master's application, and then probably about 2 pages for PhD applications. And then along with that, we ask that you provide 3 letters of recommendations for the PhD application, and then 2 for the master's and the EDS. And then the other piece that you'll need to provide is the 1-page resume or your CV, and then a writing sample. We quite often we have questions about the writing sample. It could be a paper that you've written for one of your previous classes. It could be a master's level thesis if you're applying for the PhD program, or it may be some research project that you've worked on with one of your previous professors. So be sure that you have all those documents ready to upload, and then once those are in, we get a notification, and we try to review your application in a timely manner. As I said, the only caveat with that is that your acceptance will be contingent upon getting those official transcripts and the official GRE scores. And then the other kind of thing to pay attention to is the deadline for admission for each of the semesters. We admit for the PhD program, the admission is for fall only. And so we actually have 2 deadlines. One is the December 1st deadline that you see here, and this is for early consideration and for applicants who want to be considered for maybe funding opportunities. Then you really need to get your application in by that December 1st cutoff. However, the final deadline for fall admissions for the PhD programs would be April the 1st, but you're strongly encouraged to meet that December 1 deadline. And then for the master's program, we have a November 1 for the on-campus admissions for the master's program, and then for summer admission, that would be the on-campus programs again. That would be in March the 1st, and then we have a July 1 for the online master's program in CNI, and then for the fall admissions as well. So these are the important dates, and I think, you know, for if you're interested in a fall 2023 admission, then pay attention to that December 1 if it's a PhD, or the July 1 for the master's programs. And then if for those of you looking to be coming here for the spring, then the deadline is coming up next week. So couple of other things to tell you about the funding opportunities. We do have a lot of scholarships, and someone might be able to help me out with the deadline for the applications. You are eligible to apply for these once you're admitted to the programs. I think the deadlines come up in the spring, and you should be looking out, and I put the link there. You could be looking out for the different scholarships. And Josh might recall, I don't know in dollar terms how much money we give away every year. But it varies year by year. I think
Last year I won. I'm not actually gonna spitball because I might be wrong, but I do know that like in the last 3 years we've given out $2.61 million, I want to say.
Yeah,
So
that's what, yeah, and I know it's up there, and so we have a lot of scholarships for students in the School of Teacher Education, for students in the education programs. In the last round within my own program in early childhood, I know several students were awarded in the range of between $1,000 and $3,000, and so some of them are quite substantial. And so I'd encourage you to check those out. And then the graduate school also have some funding awards. And you can check out the Office of Graduate Fellowships and Awards and the graduate school using the link I've given you there. And then for international students, you can check out the Center for Global Engagement using the link I have on that page there. And then I've also included some other important websites at FSU. So in addition to checking out the information that you see on the College of Education website, since your interest is in graduate school, then you should also be paying attention to, or certainly looking at the information that's available on the FSU graduate school website, and then looking for opportunities for professional development. FSU also have the dedicated page. This is outside of the College of Education for their own funding awards. We have a program for instructional excellence. Some of you might be interested in coming to a PhD program and having opportunities to teach at the undergraduate level. We do have training opportunities to prepare students to teach our undergraduate classes. And then within the College of Education, we have an Office of Academic Services and Intern Support. So we call that the OASIS. And it has several sections, and one of them is dedicated to kind of undergraduate student support, but we also have staff there that really work closely with our graduate students once they're admitted to the program, to help guide them through the different milestones and making sure all the paperwork is submitted on time and that they're cleared for graduation and so on. And so as you're checking out the university and the resources, I'd encourage you to look at what we have at the OASIS in terms of student support. And then finally, I've added the link for the library there, just for information purposes. And then one other program we have is called the Purpose Program that seeks to train a diverse cohort of students with a focus on social justice in education. I put that up there, and I'd encourage you to check that out if it's something you're interested in that you may want to apply for. And so I'm going to pause there and see if we have any questions. I haven't had a chance to look at the chat. I see we have some students interested in English education, reading education, and language arts. Before we go into the breakout rooms, any questions about the application process or the programs? And I should have added really that the master's programs and the EDS programs, both the online and the face-to-face masters, they're typically around the 30 to 36 credits, student credit hours. So typically a graduate course is going to be 3 credits, so around 30 to 36 credits. And we have a thesis and a non-thesis option for some of those programs. And then at the PhD level, I want to say that it's probably around 40 to 48 credits of coursework, and then 24 credits of dissertation hours once students have completed the coursework. And so typically for the PhD students, you're looking at a full-time program of 4 to 5 years, I think, for the typical student. And then, whereas the master's program, you're looking at a year or two, depending on course load and other factors. So I have a question about the transcript. No, it does not have to be a physical, you know, so you can put the address when you take the GRE, they'll ask you, you know, they'll ask for a university institution where you want to send them to. Otherwise, you can have them, but they do have to be official transcripts. So I don't want to mislead people. I'm not sure what the registrar's requirements would be, but I'm guessing that for them to be an official, they would have to come from ETS directly, so that it's not handled by the applicant. I'm just looking through the chat. And I have a question. Someone is finishing up a BA beginning of January. Will I be able to start my master's during spring semester? And I think that depends on the date when your degree is awarded. You have to have completed your bachelor's. You know, it's a prerequisite of admission to the master's program. So it would really depend when in January that's going to be. One of the things you could do, if you're awarded a degree in January and you're interested in pursuing a graduate program, it's always possible to enroll as a special student. You can take up to 12 credits as a special students or a non-degree seeking students, and then you would apply for admission for the summer, and then those 12 or those, however, you know, up to 12 credits that you took in the spring could then be counted towards your graduate degree, and but you'd become an official degree seeking student beginning the summer term. And I see that we have an updated deadline for the scholarships. Scholarship decisions are usually sent out in early May, and so the application window for fall is December the.
Yeah, I think that next year's hasn't been announced yet. So
yeah,
for the students,
that's what I'm thinking.
yeah.
It probably, but yeah, it's usually early in the spring semester that the applications are due, and then the decisions come out somewhere around spring break, or either before or shortly after spring break. And I'm reminded that we also, and I apologize for omitting to mention that we also have within the School of Teacher Education, we have a program that is, we call the FSU Teach program. And this is a program for a secondary teacher preparation for teachers of mathematics and science at the secondary level. And that's a, and Dr. Sutherland can correct me, and I'm guessing the grades 9 to 12, right? Does that include middle school as well?
It does. It's the
It includes
certification
middle,
is
yeah,
6 to 12.
yeah. And we do have a new program starting in the fall of 2024. I didn't talk about this program earlier, but Dr. Hanline reminds me that we are starting a new program in early childhood education in the fall of 2024, and that's going to be an online certification and master's program. And I think if we have no more questions. I'm looking through the chat. I don't see any other questions.
Dr. Jones, did you address the transcript question?
I talked about the transcripts question, and I'm guessing that can I download my official transcript and upload them? I believe that they have to come from ETS, but I will check that out as you're when you're in the chat rooms, just to make sure. I mean, you can submit a copy of your transcript as an unofficial transcript, but I think it has to come from the institution for it to be counted as official. But I'll check on that. Other questions? There is a question in the chat on is there a PhD program available for disability or health? And I'm going to say we do have a program in special education, and Dr. Hanline, you might want to help me out here.
Yes, we do have a special ed program, a PhD program in special education. Within that program, you generally would specialize in a particular area, either early childhood special education, autism spectrum disorder, students with severe cognitive disabilities, or learning disabilities / reading, high incidence disabilities.
Okay.
Does that answer your question? Okay, great. Thank you. I see your thumb. All right, good.
Yeah, and then the other part of the question was a PhD program in health, and I said we don't have that program. We used to, but we no longer have that.